How are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. So today I'd like to introduce myself properly. I didn't do that, and Patricia, thank you for that reminder. She asked me to do that, and I think it is proper to do so. Since I'm here talking and laughing with you guys, so I just want to do a quick introduction. So I was born in the end of the horse year in the Chinese astrology. My family, we love astrology and numerology, and in Chinese astrology, we have 12 animals, and every 12 years, your animal repeats. And I was born in a fire horse, which is very um, it's almost a cursed um, sign for a woman in Eastern Asia, especially Chinese. They don't like women. They feel very sorry for all the women that are in uh, was born in a year of a fire horse. Why? Because fire horse animal has many masculine um, uh, characteristics, such as being independent, um, doing what they want to do, um, um, being very dynamic, much of action, not much of thinking or planning very well, but much of actions. And the whole thing is folded by 1,000 during the year of a fire horse. If it's a fire, the element is fire. So that's why they don't, they feel very sorry for women who were born in the year of a fire horse. And but I don't mind. And I remember that my mom was when I was younger. She told me, "Oh my goodness, when you go to Japan, don't tell anybody that you are a fire horse. If they ask, just tell them that you are a sheep ear, because sheep is more content, more quiet, more calm. So because you were born in 1967, so that would be almost considered as a sheep year in Japan." And I said, okay, but it never bothered me being a fire horse. Actually, I feel quite proud of being a fire horse. Um, it has so many qualities. So, and then I've learned also that the more you fight against your nature, the worse it will be for you. So if you are fire horse or fire tiger or meadow uh, rabbit or anything, just embrace that. And if you are introvert, or if you are extrovert, or if you are a little bit of both, just embrace that. Embracing what you are is the fastest and the simple way to your happiness, because you are not going to be pursuing something that you are not and you don't have in your heart and in your soul. So I just enjoy being a fire horse. And so you know the year that I was born. I was born in 1967, in the beginning of the year. And I have two brothers. One is 3 years younger than I, and both of them lives in Brazil. And the other, the youngest one, he's 12 years younger than I. And I had lots of fun with him when he was a baby. I changed his diaper. I walked with him to do errands for my mom all the time. And when I got my first job, I just dragged him all over the place to go to the theater, to watch kids uh, pieces, or go to that McDonald's and go to the library. I just drag him all around, and it was so fun talking with him all the time. And I remember one day that something that I did or said to him, and I knew I hurt him. So I called him and I said, I am sorry. And I don't know, in Japanese culture, at least in my family, we don't say sorry much. We feel sorry, but and we try to make amendments by action, but we don't say I am sorry. And I remember doing that with Shin, my youngest brother, and I saw his eyes wide open, like a wow. So, um, yeah, that was a good thing to do with him, and I felt that it even um, make it stronger, the connection with that we already had. Other than that, so I was raised in Brazil. I was born and raised in Brazil, and I was living in that until my 48. Uh, 5 years. Yeah, 48. I was 48 when I came here to the U.S. And I live in, now I'm living in Wisconsin state. Well, I always lived here in Wisconsin state. It's not now. I came straight to Wisconsin, and here I am for 5 years now, 5 years and a half. I came here in April of 2015. In Brazil, I remember that the first language that I learned was Japanese, and I had no idea of what people were saying, my teacher was saying, when I went to Brazilian public school, the regular school. Because when I was 5 years old, my parents, they put me into a Japanese private school. It was a small school, old-fashioned school. It was very good to get to know the culture of Japanese, and along with my own family, my parents. And the funny thing about this Japanese school was that the teacher, he immigrated into Brazil back in 1927, and he used all the books. We didn't have to buy books. He provided all the books for the students, and the books that we had were from 1927. And in Japan, after the war, the Second War, after 1945, the Japanese government, they changed all the grammar, and simplified most of the kanjis. Kanji is a letter in Japanese, and all the kanjis, they were originated in China. And they did that, and I didn't know anything about that. When I went to my second Japanese school, then, only then, I learned that the letter were modernized, and there was a specific sequence to write a kanji. And I didn't know that. I was just writing whenever I wanted. because my other teacher, he didn't taught us that. And that was, and on the second Japanese school, I learned a more refined Japanese. It was Japanese is it's language that it can be very judgmental, very not judgmental. Uh, it is very prejudiced because the way you say it will show your origin if you are educated or not. Everybody will know the time you open your mouth to say something. It's different from English, for instance, where you can be very spontaneous talking, and nobody, it's not gonna make any difference the way you talk, unless you are talking lots of slangs or ghetto-like language. But in general, it is very equal. The quality of the language is very uh, perceivable. That's not the case in Japan, in Japanese. In Japanese, there is a certain way to talk when you are in a corporate job or when you are with friends. It's very separate. And if you are in a corporate level and you are talking with a customer, there is a way to talk and say things. There is specific, the verb. If the verb is the same verb as, for example, um, Mr. X is coming. And if you are saying Mr. X is coming in a formal way, the verb coming is very different from the verb coming when you are saying, oh, my mom is coming now. It's very different. And that will show how polite you can be or not. And sometimes this is annoying in Japanese because you have to keep thinking about it, and if you don't know, and especially if you have an Asian face and you speak Japanese and you are not speaking properly, they will look at you, unless you say up front that you are from Brazil or from America or from any other country other than Japan. They will look at you like, oh, you will feel that in your skin. So, but other than that, Japanese culture, they are awesome. They are very organized. They are very friendly, very polite. And if you ever visit Japan, you will love it. It is a beautiful place to visit. But if you are a foreigner and you are not, you don't have features of Asian looking like, they will welcome you. And if you say just one word in Japanese, they will be so happy. I am always very happy when I hear foreign person talking anything in Japanese, because it's such a difficult language to learn. And so that was my first language. And when I went to my Brazilian public school, to my regular schooling, I didn't know nothing about Portuguese, but fortunately to me, I had a friend that knew a little of Japanese and a lot of Portuguese, and she interpreted and translated to me most of that what the teacher was saying. And I went back home, translated, repeated to my mom what was the homework, and she helped me. She didn't know nothing about the Portuguese as well, but we both figured it out to do the homework together. She helped me a lot. And my mom was my best friend until my 22 years old, 23 years old. But this video is getting close to 15 minutes, so I'm gonna stop here and then we'll go from here to the next stop. All right, see you soon.